There are certain moments that divide an ordinary life from the life you were always meant to live. And the energy surrounding July 31st is one of those rare moments. This is far more than another page on the calendar turning. It is a spiritual crossing point, a silent doorway the universe has been constructing long before your conscious mind ever realized you were approaching it. Whether you have been able to explain it or not, something within you has already begun responding. Perhaps there has been an unfamiliar sensation settling across your chest, not quite anxiety, yet impossible to ignore. Perhaps your body has carried an unusual restlessness that no amount of sleep could erase, or maybe there has been a deep stirring inside your stomach, as though an ancient part of your soul has finally decided it is time to awaken after remaining hidden for what feels like an eternity. None of these experiences are meaningless. None of them are simply the result of everyday pressure. They are signs that your entire system is responding to an energetic frequency that has arrived with astonishing precision, one that has been woven into your own cosmic blueprint since before the day you entered this world. Before we continue, there is something essential you must understand. Physical awakening alone is never enough. Your consciousness must expand alongside your body, because when the spirit begins to awaken, while the mind remains trapped inside old beliefs about limitation, insecurity, and scarcity, those outdated patterns quietly block the future your soul has been trying to reach. This is why countless spiritually sensitive people recognize the call of something greater, yet continue wondering why the abundance they long for never fully arrives. Their energy begins to rise, but their thinking continues repeating stories that belong to an older version of themselves. Their body steps toward destiny while their mind keeps pulling them backward without realizing it. Pause for a moment and allow yourself to breathe with intention, because everything you have been experiencing recently is about to make sense in a way it never has before. What follows is not simply another spiritual idea. It is an explanation for the changes already unfolding inside you, and it is preparation for what is waiting beyond this moment. If these words resonate with you, leave the word "awakened" in the comments as your personal declaration that you recognize this message. And subscribe, because what you are about to discover may permanently transform the way you understand the wisdom carried inside your own body. Long before your thoughts can organize the events unfolding around you, your body has already recognized the truth. This understanding reaches back through ancient traditions that existed long before the modern world buried intuition beneath endless distraction. Even after centuries of noise, that truth has never disappeared. Your body was never designed to function as nothing more than flesh, muscle, and bone. It is a living receiver, constantly responding to invisible patterns connected to destiny, divine timing, and the deeper rhythms of existence. Whenever an important life transition approaches, your physical self notices it first because the body remains closer to authentic knowing than the analytical mind ever can. This explains why your energy may have felt strangely depleted throughout this week, almost as if unseen forces were redirecting your vitality towards something your conscious awareness could not yet perceive. It explains why your nights may have become filled with unusually vivid dreams, forgotten faces returning without warning, mysterious symbols repeating themselves, or memories from years ago suddenly demanding your attention. It explains why your relationship with food may have shifted without any obvious reason, or why your emotions have risen and fallen like powerful ocean tides, leaving you feeling uplifted one moment and deeply reflective the next. None of these experiences have appeared by accident. Every physical sensation carries information. Every uncomfortable feeling represents another stage of activation. Your nervous system is undergoing a profound recalibration so it can sustain a higher energetic state, one that your previous habits, unresolved emotional wounds, and outdated identity simply cannot continue holding. The person you were only 1 month ago is not the same person who is meant to step into what is now approaching. That earlier version has served its purpose, but it cannot accompany you into this next chapter. Today, On July 31st, your physical body begins its final stage of preparation for what comes next. There are 7 transformations, 7 unmistakable signals, and 7 confirmations that your soul belongs to this exact timeline rather than any other. Before we move into them, allow yourself to fully absorb that reality, because what follows will require something important from you. It will ask for your complete presence, your willingness to face uncertainty with courage, and your trust in the wisdom your body has been communicating long before your mind could understand it. The very first transformation begins in the space between your eyebrows, the sacred point that ancient traditions described as the center of inner sight. Perhaps you've already noticed a subtle pressure there, a gentle pulse that resembles a headache at first, yet somehow feels entirely different because it does not carry the sharp discomfort of ordinary pain. Instead, it quietly persists. It lingers with purpose. It continues drawing your attention as though inviting you to recognize something you have overlooked for years. This is the gradual awakening of your third eye, responding to the powerful, energetic current flowing through the cosmos on this day. For much of your life, this deeper perception may have remained hidden beneath layers of overstimulation, skepticism, and a culture that encouraged you to believe only what could be measured by your physical senses. Yet somewhere inside yourself, you always suspected there was far more to reality than what your eyes alone could confirm. That quiet knowing has never disappeared. It has simply been waiting for the right moment to rise again. As this inner vision begins opening once more, your intuition may become astonishingly clear. You may suddenly recognize events before they unfold, sense someone's emotional state before they speak a single sentence, anticipate a phone call moments before it arrives, or awaken from dreams carrying symbols whose meanings cannot yet be explained with logic, but somehow feel undeniably true within your heart. If this unfamiliar pressure continues, resist the urge to fear it, because it is not arriving to harm you. It is arriving to remind you that a deeper level of perception has always existed within you, patiently waiting for the precise, cosmic moment when you would finally be ready to trust it. Before you rush to silence what your body is trying to communicate, pause long enough to hear its message. Not every unfamiliar sensation is a problem that needs to be erased. Some experiences arrive because your body is trying to remind you of something your conscious mind has forgotten. This is not a collapse. It is not evidence that something inside you has gone wrong. It is the beginning of remembrance. Your physical form is not falling apart. It is responding to an awakening that has been waiting beneath the surface for far longer than you realize. What is happening within you now is the opening chapter of 7 unmistakable signs. Because the path the universe is guiding you toward cannot be understood through ordinary perception alone. Your physical eyes will never be enough for what is coming. A deeper awareness must emerge, and today marks the moment when that hidden perception begins to rise. The second transformation unfolds across the center of your chest, and perhaps more than any other signal, this one is often misunderstood. At first, it can resemble sorrow. It may feel like an unexpected heaviness pressing against your heart, a tightening that appears without explanation, a lump forming in your throat when nothing around you seems sad enough to justify it. Tears may gather without warning. Emotion may suddenly surge through you in the middle of an ordinary conversation, leaving you wondering why your heart seems to have a language your mind cannot translate. You may even notice yourself taking long, deep sighs throughout the day, almost as though your body is quietly releasing something that your thoughts have not yet identified. It is important that you recognize what is truly happening. This is not sadness in the ordinary sense. This is the process of release. Your heart center is expanding so it can carry a higher vibration, and genuine expansion rarely feels comfortable while it is taking place. Every meaningful transformation asks something of the space it is changing before it reveals the freedom waiting on the other side. Imagine a muscle that has remained tense for years, finally beginning to stretch. Before flexibility returns, discomfort appears. Before openness arrives, resistance must dissolve. Your heart has been carrying unfinished emotional weight for far too long. Old attachments, forgiveness that was never fully expressed, relationships that ended before their lessons were complete, and versions of love that never had the opportunity to become what they were meant to be, have all continued occupying sacred space within you. Today, the cosmic current applies gentle yet unmistakable pressure directly to that place, not as punishment, but as preparation. The purpose is not to wound your heart. The purpose is to loosen everything that has quietly prevented you from receiving the future already moving toward you. This may explain why you suddenly feel compelled to reconnect with someone who once played an important role in your life, or why you experience an equally powerful desire to finally let someone go forever. Both impulses can arise from the same healing movement. Listen carefully to that inner pull. Do not dismiss the ache simply because it feels unfamiliar. It is not evidence of weakness. It is the sound of your heart recalibrating itself for a love that reaches deeper, a purpose that stretches farther, and a life that extends well beyond the boundaries of what once felt safe, familiar, and comfortable. The pressure will not remain forever, but what is left behind after it passes will reshape the way you experience connection, compassion, and emotion from this day forward. The third transformation begins flowing through your entire body, moving into your hands, your legs, your muscles, and especially your nervous system. Suddenly remaining still may seem almost impossible. You may notice yourself walking back and forth without realizing why, tapping your foot while sitting, shifting positions repeatedly, or feeling an overwhelming need to move, despite having nowhere urgent to be. At first glance, this sensation can resemble anxiety, yet its true origin is entirely different. What you are experiencing is dormant life force beginning to circulate once again after spending far too long trapped beneath layers of hesitation and stagnation. Your body has carried untapped potential through seasons when you felt forced to wait, minimize yourself, or postpone becoming the person your soul has always known you could become. That stored energy is finally beginning to move. It is preparing you for action. It is reminding every cell within you that stillness was never meant to become your permanent reality. There are seasons when divine timing asks you to remain patient, but patience is never intended to last forever. It exists only until the precise moment arrives. Chosen one. That moment stands much closer than your logical mind currently believes. The restlessness you feel is not trying to disturb your peace. It is dissolving the old inertia that once kept you frozen, so that when opportunity finally appears, your body no longer responds with fear or hesitation. Instead, it responds with movement. So many people stand before the doorway of destiny only to watch it close because their bodies remain conditioned by years of uncertainty. They hesitate for one moment too long. They question themselves instead of stepping forward. Today, that old pattern is being loosened from within you. If your body asks you to move, honor it. Walk without needing a destination. Stretch your muscles. Shake your hands. Allow the stored energy to circulate freely. Nothing about this process suggests that something is wrong. Your body is rehearsing for the momentum that is preparing to enter your life, ensuring that when destiny finally calls your name, you answer with confidence instead of fear. The fourth transformation reveals itself through a profound exhaustion, unlike ordinary tiredness. This is the kind of weariness that cannot always be resolved with another hour of sleep. You may have discovered yourself longing for silence, more than conversation, seeking distance from crowded spaces, noisy environments, glowing screens, or relationships that consistently drain your energy rather than restore it. You may wonder why your desire for solitude has become so powerful. Resist the temptation to judge yourself and refuse to accept the opinions of anyone who mistakes this sacred pause for laziness. Your body is not abandoning you. Your soul is gathering its strength. Just as a caterpillar willingly surrenders to the stillness of the cocoon instead of resisting it, your own spirit understands that true transformation often requires retreat before emergence. Inside that quiet space, an entirely different version of life is taking shape. Whether you fully recognize it or not, you are living within your own cocoon season. Every part of you that longs for additional rest is pointing toward an inner reconstruction already underway. Beneath the surface, a stronger consciousness, a clearer identity, and a more awakened version of yourself are quietly forming. This exhaustion deserves reverence rather than criticism. It is not the emptiness created by burnout. It is the sacred fatigue that accompanies profound transformation. Allow yourself to honor it completely, because every moment of true rest is becoming part of the foundation upon which your next chapter will soon begin. Resist the temptation to overpower what your body is asking for with another cup of coffee, another source of entertainment, or another layer of constant stimulation. The answer is not to become busier. The answer is to become quieter. Your body is asking for space because something extraordinary is taking shape beneath the surface, and no meaningful transformation can be forced to happen before its time. The universe is not measuring your worth by how hard you push yourself or how endlessly you stay occupied. Instead, it is inviting you to discover that destiny sometimes unfolds through surrender rather than struggle. There are seasons when action is necessary, but there are also seasons when stillness becomes the greatest act of trust you can offer. The peaceful days that appear unproductive are not interruptions to your spiritual path. They are part of it. The moments when your energy feels calm, slow, and reflective hold the same sacred value as the days when inspiration rushes through you like lightning. Both experiences belong to the same unfolding story. One prepares the foundation, while the other reveals what has been built. Together, they shape the person you are becoming. The fifth transformation begins expressing itself through the outermost layer of your physical experience, your skin, your senses, and the invisible boundary separating your inner reality from the world surrounding you. You may have noticed ordinary experiences suddenly feeling far more intense than they once did. A familiar texture may seem unexpectedly vivid beneath your fingertips. Everyday sounds may appear sharper or more powerful than before. Bright light may seem almost overwhelming, while certain scents unexpectedly awaken memories or emotions that had remained hidden for years. At times, your skin itself may seem unusually warm, gently tingling, or subtly alive with an almost electrical sensation, as though invisible currents are flowing just beneath its surface, searching for expression. These experiences are not random. They are evidence that your energetic field is expanding beyond the limits it has carried for a very long time. Chosen one, your aura, your vibration, and the quiet influence of your presence are stretching into a wider frequency than they have previously occupied. As this expansion unfolds, your physical senses naturally become translators for spiritual information that your conscious mind has not fully learned to interpret. Because of this, they grow stronger. They become more refined. They awaken to details that once passed unnoticed. This explains why familiar places can suddenly feel completely different. A room where you have spent countless hours may unexpectedly seem charged with a new atmosphere, almost as though the space itself has become alive in ways you never perceived before. It also explains why your perception of other people may begin changing. Without anyone saying anything different, you may find yourself sensing the truth beneath their words, recognizing authenticity, hidden emotion, or inner conflict with surprising clarity. This does not mean you are becoming overly emotional or fragile. Quite the opposite. You are developing a level of perception that modern life often encourages people to ignore. It is a quiet gift carried throughout history by deeply intuitive souls, spiritual healers, and those whose wisdom has always extended beyond appearances. Allow your senses to remain open instead of rushing to dull them with endless distraction. What your body is noticing carries genuine guidance. These feelings are not meaningless reactions. They are information arriving through a language deeper than logic, preparing you to recognize the opportunities, relationships, and unmistakable signs that will appear at precisely the moment they are meant to enter your life. The sixth transformation arrives with far less drama than the earlier signs, yet its influence reaches just as deeply. It appears as a powerful longing that rises from somewhere beyond ordinary desire, a quiet hunger that settles within the center of your being and refuses to disappear. Suddenly, the conversations that once seemed acceptable begin feeling painfully shallow. Endless scrolling through screens leaves you emptier than before. Daily routines, familiar workplaces, and even relationships that once felt comfortable may now seem strangely confining because the version of yourself who once accepted those circumstances no longer exists. It is important not to mistake this feeling for ingratitude or unnecessary dissatisfaction. This is not your soul becoming impossible to please. It is your soul refusing to continue shrinking itself to fit inside a life that was never large enough to contain its true purpose. A deeper force is gently but persistently drawing you toward authenticity, toward meaning, toward truth, and toward the forgotten parts of yourself that had to remain hidden while you learned to survive within a world that often rewarded conformity more than genuine self-expression. This inner longing cannot be silenced by adding more entertainment, more distractions, or more ways to temporarily escape yourself. Every attempt to ignore it only strengthens its voice. The only path capable of satisfying this hunger is movement toward what is truly yours, your gifts, your calling, and the life that reflects who you actually are instead of who you believed you had to become. On this day, that longing grows even stronger because the cosmic energy no longer supports remaining asleep inside a version of life that was only meant to be temporary. Yes, this realization can feel uncomfortable. It may challenge everything that once seemed secure. Yet this discomfort carries profound meaning. The moment your old life begins feeling too small is often the first undeniable sign that a new chapter has already begun inviting you forward. Do not suppress this longing simply because it asks you to change. Follow where it leads, even when the destination has not yet become visible, because your soul already recognizes the direction before your mind does. Finally, chosen one, the seventh transformation quietly arrives, and in many ways it is the most surprising of them all. After moving through the pressure, the emotional release, the restless energy, the deep exhaustion, the heightened awareness, and the powerful longing for something greater, everything suddenly becomes quiet. Without warning, an extraordinary calm settles over you. It may feel almost unfamiliar, because its peace seems so complete that part of you wonders whether it can possibly be real. For a brief moment, you may notice yourself observing your own life from a place of remarkable stillness, as though the worries that once consumed your attention have drifted a small distance away. This is not emotional numbness. It is not avoidance. It is the sacred stillness that appears immediately before complete alignment. Nature has always revealed this pattern. At the center of the strongest storm, there is profound calm. Just before the first light of morning dissolves the darkness, the world becomes astonishingly silent. Your body has now traveled through 6 powerful stages of activation, and this peaceful pause exists because it is preparing itself for the final shift that is about to unfold. Do not mistake this calm for the conclusion of your journey. It is not the ending. It is the threshold. It is the doorway your transformation has been guiding you toward from the very beginning. In this quiet moment, your soul gently reminds you that everything you have experienced has been preparing you for exactly this point, and with complete certainty it whispers the words your heart has been waiting to hear all along. You are ready now. Allow yourself to remain inside this unexpected peace without questioning it, simply because it feels unfamiliar. Do not rush to fill the silence with anxious thoughts, endless analysis, or imagined worst-case scenarios. Let this calm surround you instead of resisting it, because the stillness you're experiencing is not empty. It is carrying you towards something your soul has been preparing to receive all week. Everything your body has been expressing, the pressure between your eyebrows, the emotional weight resting on your heart, the restless current moving through your limbs, the profound exhaustion, the heightened awareness flowing through your senses, the longing for something more meaningful, and finally this quiet certainty settling over your spirit has never been a collection of disconnected experiences. Every one of those 7 changes has belonged to the same unfolding process, each one naturally leading into the next until this very moment. What began as subtle sensations has become a complete transformation, and that transformation is reaching its fulfillment within you right now. Now that every one of those 7 movements has passed through your body, from the awakening of your inner vision, to the opening of your heart, to the energy returning to your nervous system, to the sacred need for rest, to the expansion of your perception, to the deep hunger for purpose, and finally to this peaceful alignment, it is time to understand what all of them have truly been preparing you for. None of these experiences were given to you without purpose. They arrived because your life is approaching something that cannot be welcomed by the version of yourself you used to be. What is coming requires a heart capable of loving more deeply, intuition refined enough to recognize divine timing, sensitivity strong enough to perceive what others overlook, courage willing to move despite uncertainty, and a soul that no longer accepts a life smaller than the one it was created to live. Perhaps what approaches is a relationship that only the awakened version of you could ever recognize. Perhaps it is an opportunity that your former self would have ignored, misunderstood, or even feared. It could be a message, a reunion, or the beginning of an entirely new chapter whose significance would have remained invisible had these inner changes never taken place. The universe never asks someone to carry blessings before they have become capable of holding them. It prepares the vessel first. Chosen one, that preparation has been unfolding within you, and today your vessel has reached a new level of readiness. That is why these words found you at this exact moment. Their arrival is not simply the result of technology or chance. Something within your own energy responded to this message, in the same way your body responded to each of the 7 awakenings, one after another, arriving exactly when your soul was prepared to recognize them. As the days following July 31st continue to unfold, remain deeply attentive to the quiet language through which the universe often communicates. Rarely does it announce major shifts with overwhelming spectacle. More often it speaks through subtle moments that many people overlook. Watch for meaningful synchronicities. Notice repeating number patterns that continue appearing on clocks, receipts, addresses, or license plates with remarkable consistency. Listen carefully when a stranger speaks words that seem strangely connected to questions you never voiced aloud. Pay attention to dreams that feel less like imagination and more like forgotten memories returning to consciousness. If the same sequence of numbers continues appearing before your eyes, receive it as a gentle reminder that your timing is exactly what it should be. You are not behind. You have not missed your opportunity. Nothing essential has passed you by. You may suddenly feel inspired to reconnect with someone without fully understanding why, or someone may unexpectedly reach out, carrying exactly the conversation your heart has been waiting to hear. You may feel an undeniable pull toward a decision you have delayed, a truth you have continued avoiding, or a conversation you have postponed because part of you feared what it might change. None of these moments should be dismissed as coincidence. They are the continuation of the dialogue that your own body began today. The awakening did not end when these physical signs appeared. It simply changed the way the conversation continues. Remain present. Remain receptive. Allow yourself to stay emotionally open instead of closing again out of habit. Continue watching carefully because those who experience awakening yet ignore the signs that follow often spend months wondering why the opportunities they hoped for never seem to arrive. In reality, the opportunities did appear. They simply passed unnoticed because attention drifted back toward distraction and doubt. That will not become your story because you now understand what your body has been teaching you from the very beginning. Here you stand now, chosen one, having crossed through this entire transmission with a completely different understanding of yourself. The unexplained pressure within your mind no longer feels confusing. The ache within your heart no longer seems meaningless. The restless movement through your body, the overwhelming need for rest, the heightened sensitivity, the longing for purpose, and the remarkable peace surrounding you all belong to the same sacred language. Your body was never failing you. It was never reacting without reason. It has been communicating through a wisdom that existed long before human language, guiding you one stage at a time toward a destiny quietly taking shape beyond your awareness. Although July 31st will eventually become another completed day on the calendar, what awakened within you during this moment will continue growing long after the date itself has passed. This awakening will deepen gradually, revealing itself layer after layer, sign after sign, until the life your soul has always been moving toward becomes impossible to deny and unmistakably your own. Before this message comes to a close, there is one final truth you must carry with you, because it is the piece many awakened souls fail to understand. Your body can awaken, your spirit can become aligned. Yet if your mind continues repeating the old beliefs of limitation, scarcity, self-doubt, and fear disguised as caution, the abundance already making its way toward you may arrive before you have learned how to receive it. That final realization is not separate from everything you have experienced today. It completes everything that came before it. Mind, body, and soul must rise together if your transformation is to become complete. You are aligned now. Believe the wisdom your body has been revealing through every sensation, every emotion, every longing, and every moment of peace. Trust the pressure that awakened your inner vision. Trust the ache that expanded your heart. Trust the restlessness that prepared you for movement. Trust the exhaustion that invited surrender. Trust the heightened senses that sharpened your perception. Trust the hunger that drew you toward purpose. Trust the calm that now reminds you everything is unfolding according to a design far greater than you can presently see. You are placed within this exact timeline for a reason, and that purpose continues revealing itself with perfect timing. Before you leave, write the word "ready" in the comments as your personal declaration that you accept what has awakened within you today, allowing this message to reach another soul who may be experiencing these same 7 transformations without yet understanding them. Share these words with someone whose heart may need this reminder. And subscribe because the next stage of this journey will build directly upon everything that has been awakened here today. The universe has not finished speaking. What you have experienced here is only the opening chapter of a much greater unfolding.